This is the new OnePlus Nord 5. And you know, when the OnePlus Nord 4 launched, it was like a breath of fresh air. That metallic build, 5500 mAh battery, solid performance, and most of the time it sold for under 30,000, which made it a really solid offering. But the phone wasn't perfect. The battery life was patchy, plus the cameras weren't that great. But with the Nord 5, OnePlus has given it a giant 6800 mAh battery, upgraded the main camera, there's a better processor now. So the question that has to be asked is, how good is the Nord 5? Is it a good choice around 30,000? Is it better than the Nord 4? Well, the short answer is yes. This is a very good phone for the price. But the long answer is a bit complicated. Prateek, TechWiser will tell you everything, and usually we unbox the phone and tell you that there's some paperwork, a hard case, 120-watt flash charger, a SIM ejector pin and a Type-C cable. Boring. The phone you see is already out of the box and we have been using it for almost 2 weeks now. And we gamed on it. The phone got dropped. We tested it full throttle, but first of all, there are 3 changes in the OnePlus Nord 5. Now, the Nord 4 had this two-tone metal and glass design, but with the Nord 5, everything has changed. Be it back design, camera layout, like everything has changed. It's gotten more minimal now. It feels like those glow-up reels you see, like the Nord 4 was in college and now post-MBA and a Big 4 job. This is Nord 5. Now, OnePlus went an all-glass back. It doesn't attract any fingerprints or smudges on the back, so you won't spend half your day wiping it like your glasses. Now, the frames here are made up of polycarbonate, due to which the weight of the phone is in check. It weighs in like 210 grams. It's just 8.1 mm thin, so it doesn't feel like a brick in your pocket. Also, you get an IP65 rating, so if you're walking in Delhi and it suddenly starts raining, the Nord 5 can survive that. Also, you get dual stereo speakers, IR blaster, so you can control your electronic stuff, and this time you get the plus key instead of the alert slider, and we'll talk about this in just a moment. And last but not the least, if you use tap to pay like me, congrats, there's the NFC. So you can use your cards in GPay or Cred or whatever UPI app gives the most discount. And before we get to the display or camera, let's switch up things and directly jump into performance. You didn't jump. So the OnePlus Nord 5 this time gets Snapdragon 8s Gen 3. All the variants here come with LPDDR5X RAM and UFS 3.1 storage. Now I know what you're thinking, and let me get it straight. The 7 Plus Gen 3 and 8s Gen 3 are almost kind of same processors with slight difference in clock speeds and GPUs. But that's theory. If you compare it in terms of benchmark, the Nord 5 scores much higher than the Nord 4, like it scores around 35% higher than the Nord 5. Also in terms of gaming, the Nord 5 supports 90 FPS on BGMI, but you can enable frame boost, which pushes the frame rates to 144 FPS. Now we really wanted to test this claim and see how the heating is, so we played BGMI for an hour and you get that stable 144 FPS throughout the gameplay. Also the battery drain is decent. We started out at 91% and at the end it was only 74%. Same is the case with Call of Duty. You get 144 FPS support here as well, and the gameplay again is smooth without any major drops. However, the frame booster option is not available in COD. And now we didn't stop here. We played a heavy game like Car X Street for 1 hour, and again the gameplay was smooth, and this time the phone did get a little bit hot, but there was no overheating. But considering that the game is so heavy, there was no overheating or anything else. Also, you can play other games like Genshin Impact, Wuthering Waves. In these games, you get 60 FPS. Also, there are a couple of extra options to enhance gaming like hyper resolution for better clarity, game capture, 4D vibration, bypass charging. So if you game quite a lot on your phone, you would really value these features. But for people like me, in day-to-day tasks, we never had any issues with the OnePlus Nord 4. It still runs as good as new, and same is the case with the Nord 5. Day-to-day tasks like scrolling through reels, multitasking, and long gaming sessions on this phone is not at all a problem. Now, the third upgrade is camera. On paper, the camera specs don't sound exceptional. It gets a 50 megapixel main camera with OIS and an 8 megapixel ultra wide angle camera. The Nord 5 gets the Sony Litia 700 compared to Litia 600 on the Nord 4. Now, the ultra wide angle remains the same as last year. And speaking of the camera quality, the main camera takes pretty good pictures. Like the colors and light control are fantastic. Even it gets the skin tone right. If you zoom in, there is good amount of details. Even the portrait mode shots are pretty good. The background blur and the edge detections are on point. You can shoot portraits at 1x and 2x. Now, the photos in ultra-wide, even though there's a minimal color shift between the main and the ultra-wide angle camera, the photos are good enough until you zoom in on them. On the front, it has a 50 megapixel selfie camera and the selfies from it are excellent. In videos, it can shoot in 4K 60 FPS from both the front as well as the rear camera. So it's good to see that most of the brands are now providing 4K support in the rear as well as the front camera. Now, apart from that, you get a lot of AI tools. There's AI Recompose, which automatically selects the best frame of a photo, also recommends applying various filters, and then there's AI Eraser, enhance clarity, remove reflection. You can have your own sweet time with all of that. Overall, the main camera here takes really good photos and videos. Now, the display this year gets a minor change. It is now a 6.78-inch 1.5K flat AMOLED display. Now, the phone feels a bit wide this year. The display here supports up to 144Hz refresh rate. So in normal tasks, it sits like at 60, 90 or 120Hz depending on what you do. Now, the good thing is it supports HDR on both YouTube as well as Netflix. And we also tried to test the peak brightness of the display, and it can go around 1900 nits of peak brightness. But in general usage or outdoors, you get about 1400 nits in HBM, which is quite bright. Now, in terms of glass protection, it comes with Corning Gorilla Glass 7i at the front. Also, this display has AquaTouch 2.0, so you can use the phone with some droplets on the screen. But the USP of every OnePlus phone is the software, the Oxygen OS. See, the Nord 5 runs on Oxygen OS 15 based on Android 15. The UI here is quite clean and polished. It only came with these 3 pre-installed apps, which obviously you can uninstall. And then there are tons of cool features, like there is this O+ Connect for sharing files wirelessly to your friend's iPhone, for whom the only file sharing method is AirDrop. Dear European Union, please do something about that. Now, jokes aside, the Oxygen OS also gets some features that we saw on the OnePlus 13S. Like, you get this mind space. Now, I like this feature and I use it quite a lot. So if you see something interesting on your phone, just press this plus key and it activates mind space, which saves the screenshot and summarizes the entire thing for me. And not just that, it can also extract dates from your WhatsApp messages and then set a reminder in Google Calendar and even extract text from any document. This mind space acts like a second memory for me. There's also AI Voice Scribe, which records WhatsApp or Meet calls and generates summary from them. Also, now you get OnePlus Dialer, so you can record calls without those announcements. Apart from that, there's also AI Call Translate and obviously circle to search. Now, OnePlus promises 3 years of software updates and 4 years of security updates for the Nord 5. Now, in terms of battery, this gets a huge 6800 mAh battery, and in our phone, the phone easily lasts a day or even 2 days. You get an 80-watt charger inside the box, and it takes about an hour to go from 5 to 100%. So what's the conclusion? Is the Nord 5 a good successor to the Nord 4? I would say yes. See, Nord 4 was and still a pretty balanced phone. It had some hiccups in cameras and batteries, but the Nord 5 kind of fixes all of that and improves over it. I still feel for an overall balanced phone, the Nord 5 is really good. Now, regarding the pricing, the base 8256GB variant starts at 29,999 with bank offers. And at that price, it's a pretty balanced phone. Now, what are your thoughts on this? Tell us in the comments. And also, if you have bought a OnePlus phone previously or using one currently, tell us your experience on the Oxygen OS. We'll be reading that. On that note, this is signing off. See you in the next video. Pew pew.